What's up, my freedom-loving friend? Welcome back to my JP Reacts channel, where you get to watch viral videos with me as I react, calling out the lies and corruption of tyrants, absurdities of woke culture, and I also highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. In today's video, we're going to do just that, the amazing work of a freedom fighter. He's a tennis star named Novak Djokovic from Serbia. Quick disclaimer on this video. This is a BBC interview done with him, and we're going to be bleeping out a certain word as this plays, and you could probably imagine for the platform that this is on why we're doing it. So we're playing the game a little bit. Quick context. Novak Djokovic has taken a strong stance for making his choices when it comes to his body, what goes in it, which means Fauci's favorite injectable. He said, no, not for me. Now, as the world's best tennis player, he's taken a lot of heat for that. He's also gotten a lot of praise for dude, you're awesome, you're making your choice. So he has been prevented from playing in a lot of tournaments, and he's been the world's #1 tennis player for, I think, well over 300 weeks. But now he's officially ranked 7 because he's not able to play in a lot of tournaments, and therefore he doesn't get as many points as he'd otherwise get. So he's someone who's taken a stance standing for his principles, his health, and his sovereignty over compliance. So I have a lot of admiration for the principles that he stands for, and I think this interview might be worthy of taking a look at. So let's do just that. Oh, by the way, right away as we see this video, we've got the old, the latest information from season. Cool, awesome. This is big tech platform, which is the same thing as medical advisement over me and my health. So tell me what I need to know, big tech. Let's take a look.
Have you received any against COVID?
I have not.
Why?
I understand that and support fully the freedom to choose, whether you want to get vaccinated or not. And
that's all I care about. The freedom for you to choose whether or not you want to do the thing or not do the thing.
I have not spoken about this before, and I have not disclosed my medical record and my status because I had the right to keep that private and discreet. But as I see, there's a lot of wrong conclusions and assumptions out there. I think it's important to speak up about that and justify certain things, right? So
your private medical information is my business. Dude. The world we live in, where HIPAA records, I don't even know what HIPAA stands for anymore, but this, your private medical information is private. But now we're doing we kind of forgot about that, forgot about the Nuremberg Code and show me your papers. That ain't normal.
I was never against I understand that globally everyone is trying to put a big effort into handling this virus and seeing hopefully an end soon to this virus. And
not if the World Economic Forum has anything to say about it.
Probably the biggest effort that was made, probably half of the planet was and I fully respect that. But I've always represented and always supported the freedom to choose what you put into your body. And for me, that is essential. It's really the principle of understanding what is right and what is wrong for you.
What he just said, it's the principle. What I so respect in him, you, so many other freedom-loving people, is they're principled people. Now, a principled person's, like a principle is like, here is a value I live by. Here is a North Star in my sky of what's most important, and that's my guiding light. So when you're facing any decision, inject yourself or not, do this, do that, or not, a principled person sees the decision in front of them, then consults their principles. And no matter what the decision is, they stay with their principles. Now, a person who is a sellout, or you hear the term like they sell their soul, that means they're doing something for a gain that violates their principles. What he could have done to violate his principles but get a gain is if he would have said, like, whatever, inject me, like, I'll just go along with it. He could play in every tennis tournament now. He could still be ranked number one. His legacy could become that of the best tennis player of all time, and he would have gotten millions more dollars in prize money. So he could have sold himself away from his principles for that monetary gain, that status, but he didn't. And then at a smaller scale, people like you and I, we've looked at these same decisions over the course of the past 2 years, where a lot of people, it's like, lose your job or take this. Keep your job or take this. Principled people say, the principles of my body, of my being, say, that's not the right choice for me to take your thing. So, okay, if I have to lose my job, so be it. They stand by their principles. But someone who says, all right, doing this thing violates my principles, I'll succumb to the coercion, selling out to keep their job, keep their money, which, by the way, in some instances, I understand. People have families to feed, and it's scary but it's still selling out against your principles. You may have heard the old saying, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. What that means, in my opinion, standing for something means you know your principles and your values, and you don't abandon them no matter what. You don't abandon them for $15, for $15 million. You don't abandon them so like, you can continue to be a part of our tennis society. No, you don't abandon them for anything, small or big. And of course, the temptation of the devil, shall we say, is it mounts the prize for abandoning your principles bigger and bigger, bigger to tempt you. But a principled person stands for something. Therefore, they don't fall for just anything because they stand for their principles. Djokovic, he has my respect for standing by his principles.
You and me as an elite professional athlete, I've always carefully reviewed, assessed everything that comes in from the supplements, food, the water that I drink, or sports drinks, anything really that comes into my body as a fuel based on all the...
Wait a minute. So he's saying dropping dead on the field from a heart attack at a young age isn't good fuel for his body? I don't get that. It's a conspiracy.
Informations that I got, I decided not to take the as of today.
So do you have, as of today?
Yes. I keep my mind open because we are all trying to find collectively a best possible solution to end COVID, right? I mean, no.
Here's the end for COVID. I will not comply. It's pretty much the end of it.
No one really wants to be in this kind of situation that we've been in collectively for 2 years. I'm part of a sport, a very global sport that is played every single week in a different location. So, I understand the consequences of my decision. And one of the consequences of my decision was not going to Australia, and I was prepared not to go. And I understand that not being today, I'm unable to travel to most of the tournaments at the moment.
And that's the price you're willing to pay?
That is the price that I'm willing to pay.
Ultimately, are you prepared to forego the chance to be the greatest player that ever picked up a racket, statistically, because you feel so strongly about this jab?
That right there is the temptation of the devil. Now, this BBC reporter, I don't know him as a person, but he does work for the BBC, so maybe he is the devil. I don't know. But it's a question formed from what I'm calling the devil here. It's well, here's the temptation. You could be known, you could go down in history as the best tennis player to ever play the game. If you go to these Grand Slam tournaments, get the mandatory medication so you can go play, then you'll be known as the greatest tennis player in history. Isn't that enough for you? Djokovic, a man of principle, based in his principles of freedom and sovereignty, says no. Well, let's find out what he says, but no.
Yes.
He said yes, but he means like, yeah, I'll forego that. Quit screwing up the video, JP. Okay.
I do.
But as things stand, if this means that you miss the French Open, is that a price you'd be willing to pay?
Yes, that is the price that I'm willing to pay.
And if
A man who's willing to risk losing everything has everything. But a man who's not willing to risk losing anything has nothing. Here's what I mean by that. A man willing to risk losing everything has everything. Because the everything that matters isn't what he could lose. The everything that matters is what really matters. Your principles, your values, what you stand for as a person, what's in your heart. That's not getting taken away. Therefore, you have everything that matters. In my opinion.
pay?
Yes, that is the price that I'm willing to pay.
And if it means that you miss Wimbledon this year, again, that's a price you're willing to pay?
Yes.
Yeah, spoiler alert, he was able to play in Wimbledon. They let him into that one, and he won.
Why, Novak? Why? Why did...
Because the
Temptation, why? I don't understand this. From my frame of reference, where I've been taught to have no principles and go after the things like money, status, admiration that can't make you happy in order to make me happy. Why? I don't understand why principled people stand by their principles. Because I've been taught to have none. So it doesn't make sense to me.
principles of decision making on my body are more important than any title or anything else. I'm trying to be in tune with my body as much as I possibly can.
What do you say directly to anti-campaigners around the world who proudly declare Novak Djokovic is one of us?
I say that everyone has the right to choose to act or say whatever they feel is appropriate for them. And I have never said that I'm part of that movement. You know, no one in the whole process during Australian saga has asked me on my stance or my opinion on that. No one. So I could not really express, you know, what I feel and where my stance is, neither in the legal process, neither outside. So it's really unfortunate that there has been this kind of misconception and wrong conclusion that has been made around the world based upon, you know, something that I completely disagree with.
Which, by the way, the amount of smear campaigns against Djokovic, the amount of lies, coercion, intimidation against him, it makes like what Joe Rogan's gone through earlier this year look like child's play. Yet he stood by his principles. This is a strong man that I get a lot of inspiration from. Okay, so that's the end of it. Man, if I learn anything from him, and I learn a lot from him, it's know what you stand for, then have the bravery and courage to stand for it, no matter what. It's easy. Well, first off, knowing what you stand for, it's not easy because there's a lot of distractions in society. There's a lot of temptations to make your life about something that doesn't really matter to you. So knowing what you stand for, it's so important, not easy to do. But once you're there, it's very easy to abandon what you stand for. So what I learned from him is know what you stand for and then have the bravery and courage to stand for it no matter what. And in my opinion, when we as a society do more of this, and we're doing more and more of it, but when we as a society know what we stand for and we have the bravery and courage to stand for it no matter what, we will not comply with anything that tries to coerce us out of our principles and what we stand for. When we do that, humanity wins. I promise. No matter what the coercion is from the World Economic Forum or our own government or whatever it is. Like food shortage. You're not going to eat unless you do exactly what you want. We want you to. When you know what you're standing for, you have the bravery and courage to stand for it. That's someone who, take it to the nth degree, they're not only willing to put their reputation on the line, they're willing to put their life on the line for what they stand for, because here's why they do that. What they stand for is something greater than themselves. Therefore, taken to the nth degree, if this costs me my life, so be it. Better to die on your feet than live on your knees, because when you stand for something, you're connected to something greater than yourself. I think what we stand for, what your life mission is, what your principles are, I don't think those are generated by our brain. I think they come from God. And when we connect to that, we realize, this is greater than me. It's more important than the little itty bitty me. So principled people, they're willing to stand for anything. They know it's greater than what their life is. And that's a threat to these lunatics that are just addicted to trying to control other people. So Novak Djokovic, thank you for your lessons, inspiring me to unapologetically stand for freedom more and more every day in my own way. And thank you, Novak Djokovic, for inspiring everyone else who's got the courage to receive the inspiration. And thank you, my friend, for joining me for this Novak Djokovic video. Hopefully you and I can drink a little bit more of Martin Luther King's wisdom because of this, which says, civil disobedience becomes a sacred duty when the state becomes lawless and corrupt. And Martin Luther King Jr. said, one has a moral obligation to not comply with unjust laws. And to me, Novak Djokovic is modeling the wisdom of these two great men, inspiring me to do a little bit more of it, hopefully inspiring you to do the same. Thank you for watching with me, my freedom-loving friend. If you haven't already, it would mean the world to me if you subscribe to this new JP Reacts channel. Got new videos coming at you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you're a little inspired to help spread the freedom vibes and want some freedom merch to help you do that, check out my freedom shop at awakenwithjp.com. And in the meantime, stay free, my friend.